Rosa Kensington's hands trembled as she stared at the pill bottle she'd just pulled from Dr. Victor Bates's medical bag. The label read, immunosuppressants, 50 milligrams, for Emma and Ethan Bourne. But the pills inside were blue. The immunosuppressants the twins had been taking for 8 years were white. She twisted open the bottle, her heart hammering against her ribs, dumped 3 pills into her palm, turned them over under the bathroom light, saw the tiny imprint, OxyContin 80 milligrams. Rosa's blood turned to ice. Dr. Bates wasn't treating the twins' mysterious autoimmune disease. He was creating it and getting them addicted to opioids in the process. Hey there, incredible souls. Welcome back to Unbroken Truths. I'm so glad you're here with me today because this story is going to absolutely wreck you in the best way possible. Drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from. And listen, if you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, do it now, because what I'm about to tell you is so twisted, so unbelievable, that you're going to want to be part of this community when I drop the next one. This is the story of 2 innocent children. A father drowning in desperation, a doctor who weaponized trust, and a nanny who risked everything to expose a conspiracy that would make your blood boil. Let me tell you about Rosa Kensington, a woman who thought she was just taking a job as a nanny, but ended up saving 2 lives and destroying a pharmaceutical empire. Rosa had been the Bourne family's nanny for exactly 3 months when she found the pills. 3 months of watching 8-year-old twins Emma and Ethan suffer through daily treatments that never seemed to help. 3 months of watching their father, James Sullivan, a CEO of a Fortune 500 tech company, write check after check to Dr. Victor Bates while his children got progressively worse. 3 months of biting her tongue when everything in her gut screamed that something was horrifically wrong. James Sullivan wasn't supposed to be a single father. His wife Catherine had died 4 years ago of breast cancer, aggressive and merciless. He was left alone with 2 4-year-old children who were healthy, vibrant, full of life. Then, 6 months after Catherine's death, the twins got sick. It started with a small fatigue, low-grade fever, joint pain. Dr. Bates, Catherine's personal physician, a man the family trusted, implicitly diagnosed them with juvenile idiopathic arthritis, treatable, manageable, nothing to panic about. But the treatments never worked. The twins got worse. More diagnoses followed, possible lupus, maybe fibromyalgia, perhaps chronic fatigue syndrome, potentially an undiagnosed autoimmune disorder. Dr. Bates ran test after test, prescribed medication after medication. Each prescription came with a hefty price tag and a promise. Just give it time, James. These things take time. 8 years passed. Emma and Ethan were now 12 years old, but they looked like ghosts of the children they should have been. Pale, thin. Their childhood was stolen by an illness that had no name and no cure. They were homeschooled because they were too sick for regular school. They had no friends their age because they were too weak for playdates. Their world had shrunk to their bedrooms, their medications, and Dr. Bates's twice-weekly house calls. Rosa had been hired after the previous nanny quit without explanation. James was desperate. He traveled constantly for work, and the twins needed round-the-clock care. Rosa, a 52-year-old woman from El Salvador with 20 years of childcare experience, seemed like an answer to prayer. But from day one, something felt wrong. The twins were sweet kids, smart, kind, heartbreakingly brave about their suffering. But they were also foggy, disconnected. Emma would start sentences and forget what she was saying. Ethan would fall asleep mid-conversation. Their pupils were often dilated, their speech sometimes slurred. Rosa had raised 5 children of her own. She'd worked with sick kids before. This wasn't normal autoimmune disease behavior. This looked like something else, like drug use. But these were 12-year-olds, children who'd never been anywhere without supervision. Children whose only medication came directly from Dr. Bates. That's when Rosa started paying attention. She noticed how Dr. Bates always administered the twins' treatments personally. Never let James do it. Never let Rosa do it. Always insisted on privacy, sending Rosa out of the room, closing the door, spending 45 minutes alone with the children. She noticed how the twins seemed worse after his visits. More lethargic, more confused, more desperate for their pain medication. She noticed how Dr. Bates's practice had expanded significantly over the past 8 years. A new building, a staff of 12, a reputation as a specialist in complex pediatric cases. She noticed how James never questioned anything, how grief and desperation had made him clay in Dr. Bates's hands. And today, this terrible revelatory day, she'd noticed Dr. Bates leaves his medical bag in the bathroom, just for 5 minutes. While he took a phone call in the study, 5 minutes was all Rosa needed. She'd opened the bag expecting to find, she didn't know what. Evidence of incompetence, maybe, wrong medications, expired supplies. Instead, she found evil. 3 bottles, all labeled for the twins, all supposedly containing the immunosuppressants and anti-inflammatories that Dr. Bates claimed they were keeping the children alive. But inside, OxyContin, Xanax, and something else, small white pills with no markings that Rosa didn't recognize but knew, with absolute certainty, were nothing the twins should be taking. Rosa's hands shook so badly she nearly dropped the bottles. Dr. Bates was poisoning these children, slowly, methodically, for 8 years. But why? What possibly? She heard footsteps in the hallway. Rosa's heart stopped. She shoved the bottles back into the bag, zipped it closed, backed away from the counter just as the bathroom door swung open. Dr. Victor Bates stood in the doorway, 50-something, silver hair, kind eyes that had fooled a grieving father for nearly a decade. He looked at Rosa, at the medical bag, at Rosa's face, which she knew must be showing everything she was feeling. His expression didn't change, but something flickered in his eyes. Knowledge, calculation, threat. "Rosa," he said pleasantly, "did you need something from my bag?" "No, Dr. Bates," Rosa said, her voice surprisingly steady. "I was just washing my hands." He smiled, picked up his bag. "Good, because patient confidentiality is very important. I wouldn't want anyone going through my belongings. That would be problematic." The word hung in the air like a blade. "Of course," Rosa whispered. Dr. Bates left the bathroom. Rosa heard him say goodbye to James, heard the front door close, heard James's footsteps as he headed to his home office for another conference call. Rosa stood alone in the bathroom, staring at her reflection. She was an undocumented immigrant. No papers, no legal recourse, no protection if she went to the authorities. Dr. Bates knew this, she'd told James during her interview, and James had promised her safety and discretion. But Dr. Bates could destroy her with a single phone call. From upstairs, she heard Ethan crying. That terrible, gut-wrenching cry of a child in pain or in withdrawal. Rosa closed her eyes. She thought about her own children, safe now, grown, living their lives. She thought about Emma and Ethan, dying slowly in their beds while their father paid a monster to kill them. She thought about Catherine, the mother who trusted Dr. Bates, who died never knowing her children would be next. Rosa opened her eyes. "Dios mío," she whispered, "ayúdame. God help me." Then she walked upstairs to do what she was hired to do. Comfort Ethan, give him his medication, watch him slip into that terrible drug-induced fog. But this time, she is watching for something else. Evidence. Proof. Something she could use to destroy Dr. Victor Bates before he destroyed these children completely, even if it meant destroying herself in the process. Just stop for a second. A doctor deliberately poisoning children for 8 years, opioids, addictive substances, while their father pays him thousands thinking he's saving them. Before we go any further, comment below. What would you do in Rosa's position? Would you risk everything to save those kids? And please, hit that subscribe button, because it is going to reveal exactly how deep this conspiracy goes. And trust me, it's so much worse than you think. Rosa had 48 hours to figure out her next move before Dr. Bates's next scheduled visit. She spent those 2 days learning everything she could about the twins' medical history, about James Sullivan's desperation, and about the man who turned grief into profit. Emma was the stronger twin physically, at least. She still had fight in her eyes, even when her body betrayed her. She loved to read, devouring books during the rare moments when the medications didn't make the words swim on the page. She told Rosa once, in a whisper, "I remember being healthy. I remember running." Ethan was gentler, more resigned to his fate. He stopped asking when he'd get better years ago. Now he just endured. But Rosa saw intelligence in him, a sharp, observant mind trapped in a failing body. He noticed things, like how Dr. Bates always brought them juice before their pills, like how the vitamins changed colors sometimes, like how Dad never actually watched them take the medication anymore. James Sullivan was a good father, destroyed by helplessness. Rosa watched him work 18-hour days, throwing himself into board meetings and product launches because watching his children suffer was unbearable. He sold his soul to Dr. Bates's promises because the alternative, accepting that his children might die, was unthinkable. "Catherine made me promise," he told Rosa one night, bourbon in hand, staring at photos of his late wife. "Made me swear I'd never give up on them, that I'd spend every dollar, try every treatment, never stop fighting." His voice cracked. "I'm keeping my promise. But they're not getting better, Rosa. 8 years, and they're worse than ever." Rosa's heart broke for him. This man had no idea he was funding his children's murder. That night, Rosa did something dangerous. She went into the twins' bathroom and collected their medication bottles, the ones Dr. Bates left for daily doses. She carefully removed 3 pills from each bottle, replacing them with aspirin she crushed and reformed to look similar. Then she wrapped the real pills in tissue paper and hid them in her bra. The next morning, she called her nephew Miguel, the only family member she trusted, the one who helped her cross the border 15 years ago. "Tia, what's wrong?" Miguel was a pharmacy technician in Chicago, smart, careful, loyal. "I need you to identify some pills," Rosa said quietly, locked in her small basement bedroom. Without telling anyone, without filing any reports. Silence. Then, "What kind of trouble are you in?" "The kind where children die if I don't do something," Rosa whispered. "Send me photos, clear ones, front and back of each pill." Rosa did, waited, her hands wouldn't stop shaking. 15 minutes later, Miguel called back. His voice was tight with fury. "Tia, where did you get these?" "From my employer's children. Their doctor prescribes them." "These are not pediatric medications." Miguel's voice shook. "OxyContin 80 milligrams, Xanax 2 milligrams, and the unmarked ones? I ran the description through our database. They match a medication called cyclophosphamide. It's a chemotherapy drug that suppresses the immune system." Rosa's vision tunneled. What would that do to healthy children? "Make them sick, very sick. Fatigue, pain, infection, susceptibility, organ damage over time. If someone was giving these to kids long-term," he paused. "Tia, are you saying a doctor is deliberately making children ill?" "Yes. For how long?" 8 years. Miguel's cursing was creative and bilingual. "You need to go to the police. Now. Tonight." "I can't," Rosa said. "I've no papers and the doctor knows. If I disappear, if I'm deported, the children die." "Then what are you going to do?" Rosa looked at the ceiling, at the floor above where Emma and Ethan slept, their bodies ravaged by medications meant to heal. "I'm going to get real proof that even without me, he can't escape." "How?" "I don't know yet," Rosa admitted, "but I have to try." After she hung up, Rosa sat in the darkness of her room and prayed. For wisdom, for courage, for the strength to be what these children needed, not just a caregiver, but a warrior. Upstairs, she heard Ethan screaming. Another episode. More pain, more medications to help. Rosa climbed the stairs, her resolve hardening with each step. Dr. Victor Bates had made one critical mistake. He underestimated the nanny, and that mistake was going to cost him everything. Rosa just confirmed that those pills are poison. Chemo drugs and opioids given to healthy children for 8 years. Drop a comment. How is Rosa going to prove this without getting deported or killed? Dr. Victor Bates arrived for his Tuesday appointment at exactly 3 p.m., like clockwork. Rosa watched from the kitchen as he greeted James with his practiced warmth, asked about the latest business deals, and expressed concern about the twins' setback over the weekend. "They're struggling more than usual," James said, exhaustion carved into every line of his face. "Ethan couldn't get out of bed yesterday. Emma's joint pain is excruciating." "Concerning, but not unexpected," Dr. Bates said smoothly. "We may need to adjust their immunosuppressant dosage. These flare-ups happen with autoimmune conditions." "Flare-ups you're causing," Rosa thought, gripping the counter. "I'll examine them now," Dr. Bates said, picking up his medical bag. "Rosa, could you bring up some juice? The children should stay hydrated during treatment." Their eyes met across the foyer. His smile never wavered, but Rosa saw the calculation behind it. Will she obey the test? Will she stay silent? Will she break? "Of course, doctor," Rosa said. She prepared 2 glasses of apple juice with trembling hands, but before going upstairs, she made a decision that would change everything. She pulled out her cheap Android phone she bought at a corner store and opened the camera app, set it to video, slipped it into her apron pocket with the lens barely visible. If Dr. Bates was going to poison these children today, she was going to record every second. Upstairs, Emma and Ethan sat in Emma's bedroom, both in pajamas despite the afternoon hour, too weak to dress, too sick to care. "Miss Rosa," Emma's face brightened when she entered. "Did you bring the juice?" "Yes, Mia." Rosa handed them the glasses, her heart breaking at how eagerly they drank. They were so thirsty, a side effect, Miguel had told her, of the medications dehydrating them. Dr. Bates entered behind her. "Good afternoon, Emma, Ethan. How are we feeling today?" "Tired," Ethan mumbled. "Everything hurts." "I know, buddy. That's why we're here." Dr. Bates set his bag on the dresser. "Rosa, I'll need privacy for the examination. Standard protocol." "Mr. Sullivan asked me to stay," Rosa lied smoothly. "He wants to know exactly what treatments they're receiving, for his records." It was a gamble, a dangerous one. Dr. Bates's smile tightened. "That's unusual. Patient privacy." "They're children," Rosa interrupted, her voice respectful but firm, "and their father is paying for transparency." For 3 seconds, Dr. Bates stared at her. Rosa saw him weighing options, calculating risks, deciding whether to push back or play along. "Of course," he finally said. "Transparency is important." He opened his medical bag, pulled out a blood pressure cuff, a stethoscope, a thermometer. Performed a routine examination while Rosa stood in the corner, her phone recording everything. Then came the pills. "All right, let's get you to your medications." Dr. Bates produced 2 bottles, the ones Rosa had seen before. "Emma, this is your immunosuppressant. Ethan, same for you. Then we'll do the anti-inflammatory and the pain management." He shook pills into his palm, extended his hand toward Emma. "Wait," Rosa said. Everyone looked at her. "I should document this," Rosa said, pulling out her phone completely now, making it obvious. "Mr. Sullivan wants records of every medication, dosages, times. He's been very concerned." Dr. Bates's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "That's not necessary." "He insisted," Rosa lied again. "He said if I don't document everything, he'll need to find someone who will." The threat was clear. Cooperate or lose access to your victims. Dr. Bates's hand closed around the pills. His eyes went cold. "You know, Rosa, I've been a physician for 30 years. I don't need a nanny questioning my protocols." "I'm not questioning," Rosa said calmly, her phone's camera pointed directly at his hands. "I'm just following Mr. Sullivan's orders. Please, doctor, show me the bottle labels so I can record them properly." It was the moment of truth. Dr. Bates could refuse. Could tell James that Rosa was interfering with medical treatment. Could have her fired, deported, disappeared. Or he could show her the bottles with fake labels and hope she was too stupid to know the difference. He chose option 2. Fine. He held up the first bottle. Methotrexate 10 milligrams, standard immunosuppressant for juvenile autoimmune conditions. Rosa's phone captured the label clearly. Methotrexate. But the pills in his hand were blue, not yellow. Wrong color, wrong shape. "And the second medication?" Rosa asked. "Naproxen, anti-inflammatory, 250 milligrams. The pills were white and round. Naproxen was oblong. Rosa knew because Miguel had sent her comparison photos. "And the pain medication?" "Acetaminophen, extra strength." The pills had visible markings. Rosa zoomed in slightly. Captured them. "Thank you, doctor," Rosa said. "This will be very helpful for Mr. Sullivan's records." Dr. Bates's smile was pure venom, always happy to accommodate concerned employers. He turned back to the twins. "All right, Emma, Ethan, down the hatch." "Wait," Ethan said suddenly. His foggy eyes focused on the pills in Dr. Bates's hand. "Those look different." Everyone froze. "Different how, buddy?" Dr. Bates asked, his voice still gentle but with an edge underneath. "The blue ones, they're usually more round. These are oval." Ethan squinted. "And they have letters on them. The others didn't." Rosa's heart nearly stopped. The boy was more observant than anyone realized. Dr. Bates's laugh was forced. "Your vision is a bit blurry from the treatments, Ethan. They're the same pills you always take, I promise." "But, Ethan," Dr. Bates's voice sharpened, "do you trust me?" The boy hesitated and looked at his sister, at Rosa, back to the doctor. "I guess," he whispered. "Good, because I'm trying to help you get better, but I can't do that if you don't take your medicine." Dr. Bates extended his hand again. "Come on now, be a good boy." Rosa watched Ethan's hand reach out and watched him take the pills and watched him bring them toward his mouth. and she made a choice that would either save these children or destroy her. No. Rosa lunged forward, knocking the pills from Ethan's hand. They scattered across the floor. Don't take them. Silence exploded through the room. Emma gasped. Ethan stared. Dr. Bates went very, very still. Rosa, he said quietly, dangerously. What are you doing? Those pills are not what you say they are, Rosa said, her voice shaking but strong. I had them tested. They're opioids and chemotherapy drugs. You're poisoning these children. Dr. Bates's mask finally cracked. His face went from shock to rage to something calculating in 3 seconds. That's a very serious accusation, he said softly. Do you have any idea what you've just done? Saved their lives, Rosa said. You've signed your own death warrant, Dr. Bates corrected. He pulled out his phone. I'm calling Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Right now. An undocumented immigrant has assaulted me and interfered with medical treatment. They'll be here in 20 minutes. Rosa's blood turned to ice, but she didn't back down. Call them, she said. But first, let me call Mr. Sullivan. Let me show him this video. Let me show him what you've been giving his children. James trusts me implicitly, Dr. Bates sneered. He'll believe me over his illegal nanny. You'll be deported by nightfall, and these children will get the medications they need to survive. What's going on up here? James Sullivan stood in the doorway, his face flushed from running up the stairs. He heard the shouting from his study. Dr. Bates and Rosa spoke simultaneously. James, your nanny has lost her mind. Mr. Sullivan, please watch this video. Everyone stop, James commanded. He looked at his children, Emma wide-eyed with fear, Ethan pale and shaking. The pills scattered on the floor with Rosa's phone still recording them. At Dr. Bates's furious face. Someone tell me what the hell is happening to my children. Rosa stepped forward. Her hands were shaking, but her voice was clear. Mr. Sullivan, I believe Dr. Bates has been deliberately making Emma and Ethan sick. The medications he's been giving them are not immunosuppressants. They're opioids, benzodiazepines, and chemotherapy drugs. I have them tested. I have a video. I have proof. James's face went white. That's insane. Victor has been treating them for 8 years. He was Catherine's doctor. He's family. He's a murderer, Rosa said quietly. And if you don't believe me, call the police. Have them test the pills right now. Test the children's blood. You'll see I'm telling the truth. Dr. Bates laughed at a cold, brittle sound. James, she's undocumented. She's desperate. She probably stole pills from somewhere and is trying to frame me to avoid deportation. You can't possibly believe. Dad, Emma's small voice cut through the chaos. I want them to test the pills. Everyone turned to her. Emma, sweetheart, Dr. Bates began. No, Emma said, tears streaming down her face. I've been sick for 8 years. I don't remember what it feels like to be healthy. I don't have friends. I can't go to school. I can't run. Her voice broke. If there's even a chance that Miss Rosa is right, I want to know. Please, Daddy, please let them test the pills. James Sullivan looked at his daughter and at his son, at the man he trusted for 8 years, at the nanny he knew for 3 months. Then he pulled out his phone. I'm calling 911, he said, and we're testing everything. Doctor, Victor Bates's face went from confident to trapped in an instant, and Rosa knew with terrible certainty that the real danger was just beginning. It's happening. James is calling the police. But you know Dr. Bates isn't going down without a fight. Comment now. Do you think Dr. Bates will try to run or destroy the evidence? Smash that subscribe button because you know just how far a cornered monster will go. Dr. Bates moved faster than anyone expected. Before James could finish dialing, the doctor grabbed his medical bag and bolted for the door. Stop him! Rosa shouted. James dropped his phone and lunged, catching Dr. Bates by the arm. The two men crashed into the hallway wall, medical supplies scattering everywhere. Let go of me, Dr. Bates snarled, his cultured veneer completely gone. You have no idea what you're doing. You poisoned my children, James roared, slamming him against the wall. For 8 years, Dr. Bates drove his elbow into James's ribs. The CEO stumbled back, gasping. Dr. Bates scrambled for the stairs, but Rosa was already there, blocking his path, phone in hand still recording. The police are coming, she said firmly. Running makes you look guilty. I am guilty! Dr. Bates exploded, his composure finally shattering completely. And I don't care. Do you know how much money I've made off these children? Off dozens of children? I have accounts in the Caymans, properties in Switzerland. By tomorrow I'll be on a plane and you'll never find me." "You're confessing," Rosa said, holding up her phone. "On camera." Dr. Bates's face twisted with rage. He grabbed the phone. Rosa pulled back, but he was stronger. His hand closed around her wrist, yanking hard. Rosa cried out as pain shot through her arm. "Dad!" Emma screamed from the bedroom. James tackled Dr. Bates from behind. They went down hard, crashing into the banister. Wood splintered. Dr. Bates's head hit the floor with a sickening crack. He went limp. For 3 terrible seconds, nobody moved. Then Dr. Bates groaned and rolled over, blood trickling from a gash on his forehead. Conscious, alive, but dazed. James sat on top of him, breathing hard, looking at his hands like he didn't recognize them. "I almost killed him." "You saved us," Rosa said quietly, her wrist throbbing but her grip on the phone firm. "The video is uploaded to the cloud. Even if he destroys my phone now, the proof exists." Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Dr. Bates started laughing, a broken manic sound. "You think this ends with me? I'm not the only one. There's a whole network, doctors, pharmaceutical reps, insurance adjusters. We've been doing this for 15 years across 12 states, keeping kids sick, billing insurance, splitting the profits." James's face went gray. "How many children?" 43 active cases, hundreds over the years. Dr. Bates smiled through bloody teeth. "And you'll never find them all, never prove it all. I'm just one piece." "Then you're going to give us the rest," a new voice said from the stairs. Detective Sarah Chen stood in the doorway, weapon drawn, 2 uniformed officers behind her. "Mr. Sullivan called 911. We were already in the neighborhood on another call. Lucky timing." Her eyes fixed on Dr. Bates. "Did I just hear you confess to systematically poisoning children for profit?" "You heard nothing," Dr. Bates said. "I want my lawyer." "I have it all on video," Rosa said, holding up her phone. "Everything, the confession, the pills, all of it." Detective Chen smiled grimly. "Then, Dr. Bates, you're under arrest for child endangerment, medical fraud, and attempted flight, and that's just for starters." She nodded to her officers. "Get him out of here." As they hauled Dr. Bates to his feet, he looked back at Rosa with pure hatred. "You're nobody. Your testimony won't hold up in court." "Maybe," Rosa said quietly, "but the pills will, the blood tests will, the financial records will, and the 43 other children you're still poisoning, they'll talk too." Dr. Bates's face crumbled as reality hit him. He wasn't getting away. His empire was crashing down. As the police led him away, Emma and Ethan emerged from the bedroom, holding each other up. "Dad?" Ethan's voice was small. "Are we going to die now, without the medicine?" James pulled both twins into his arms, tears streaming down his face. "No, baby, you were never sick. You were never dying. He made you sick, and now you're going to get better." Emma started sobbing. "I'm going to get better?" "Yes," James choked out. "I promise. Real doctors, real tests, real treatment to undo what he did." Rosa watched the family embrace, her own tears falling silently. Detective Chen approached her. "Ma'am, I need your statement, and your immigration status?" Rosa's heart sank. She saved the children, but she was about to lose everything. "I have no papers," Rosa said quietly. "I understand if you need to." "What I need," Detective Chen interrupted, "is a witness who just broke open the biggest medical fraud case in state history. A hero who risked everything to save 2 kids." She paused. "Immigration is not my department, and this case is going to need you. So let's focus on that. Understood?" Rosa's throat tightened. "Understood." As the detective walked away to coordinate with her team, James crossed to Rosa. "You saved them," he whispered. "You saved my babies." "I did my job," Rosa said. "No." James shook his head. "You did so much more, and I will spend the rest of my life making sure you're protected, safe, legal, whatever you need. I promise you, Rosa, you're family now." Rosa looked at the twins, weak and poisoned but alive, still fighting, still hoping, and felt something shift in her chest. She came to America 15 years ago, looking for a better life. Today, she gave 2 children back their lives. 3 days later, Emma and Ethan were in the hospital, undergoing full detoxification and evaluation. Rosa sat beside their beds, reading to them while their bodies struggled through withdrawal. James hadn't left their side except to meet with lawyers and federal investigators. Detective Chen arrived with a folder full of documents. Her face was grim. "We've traced Dr. Bates's network," she said. 43 children across 12 states, just like he said. But there's something else. James looked up, exhausted. What? We found Dr. Bates's financial records. The pharmaceutical companies were paying him kickbacks for every prescription. But there was one account that didn't make sense. Regular deposits of $50,000, monthly, for 8 years. From who? James asked. Detective Chen's jaw tightened. From a life insurance policy, on your wife, Catherine Sullivan. The room went silent. What? James whispered. Dr. Bates took out a life insurance policy on Catherine 6 months before she died. He was listed as the beneficiary through a shell company. When she died, he received $2.5 million. Chen paused. Mr. Sullivan, we exhumed your wife's body yesterday. Ran toxicology. James stood up slowly, his face draining of color. No. She didn't die of cancer. Chen said quietly. She died of deliberate poisoning, the same chemotherapy drugs he was giving your children. He gave her overdoses disguised as treatment. James made a sound like a wounded animal. Rosa rushed to support him as his knees buckled. He murdered Catherine? James choked out. He murdered my wife? And then he started poisoning my children? We think he planned to kill them too, Chen said. Eventually, once he maximized insurance fraud and pharmaceutical kickbacks. 8 years of billing insurance, getting paid by drug companies, all while slowly destroying them. Then he'd let them die, console you as the grieving family friend, and walk away with millions. Emma started crying silently in her hospital bed. Ethan stared at the wall, his face blank with shock. There's more, Chen said. We arrested 6 other doctors in the network today. Every single one had similar patterns. Parents who trusted them, children who got mysteriously sick, years of expensive treatments that never worked. How many children total? Rosa asked, her voice barely a whisper. Over 200, Chen said. Some are still alive and in treatment. Some died years ago, and their parents never knew they were murdered. James sank into a chair, his face in his hands. Catherine, she trusted him. We all trusted him. Dr. Bates kept detailed records, Chen continued. He documented everything, names, dates, medications, profits. He was arrogant, thought he'd never get caught. She looked at Rosa. If you hadn't been brave enough to investigate, if you hadn't recorded that confession, he'd still be doing this. You didn't just save Emma and Ethan. You saved 200 other children. Rosa looked at the twins still sick, still struggling, but alive, and felt the weight of what could have been. What happens now? James asked hoarsely. Now, Chen said, now we build a case so airtight that every single one of these monsters spends the rest of their lives in prison, and you focus on getting your children healthy. She handed James another document. This is a list of the real medical treatments Emma and Ethan will need. Detox from the opioids, therapy for the trauma, physical rehabilitation. It'll take months, maybe years. But they'll recover? James whispered. Their doctors believe so. They're young, resilient, with proper treatment and time. Chen smiled slightly. Yes, they'll recover. James pulled both twins close, crying openly now. You hear that, babies? You're going to be okay. You're going to run again, go to school, have friends, live. Emma clung to her father. And Mom? What about Mom? James's face crumpled. Mom loved you so much, and she's going to get justice, I promise. Rosa watched the broken family begin to heal and thought about Dr. Bates sitting in a cell, his empire of cruelty finally destroyed. But she also thought about the 200 families who never know their loved ones were murdered, about the children who didn't survive, about how many more monsters might still be out there. The battle was won, but the war against evil never truly ended. He murdered their mother too. Catherine was his first victim, 200+ children poisoned. Comment, how is this even real? And how many are still out there? 2 weeks into detox, Ethan crashed. His body, dependent on opioids for 8 years, couldn't handle the withdrawal. Seizures, cardiac arrhythmia, kidney failure. Rosa stood outside the ICU, watching doctors swarm around his bed while James held Emma, who was sobbing uncontrollably. He's dying, Emma whispered. We stopped the medicine, and now he's dying. No, Mija, Rosa started. Yes, Emma screamed. The doctors said his body is shutting down, that the damage might be too severe, that he might not. She couldn't finish. James looked 10 years older, hollow, broken. I did this. I trusted Bates. I paid him to destroy my children. Catherine died, and I learned nothing. Mr. Sullivan, stop, Rosa said firmly. My son is dying because of me, James choked out, and if he dies, it's my fault, all of it. Through the ICU window, the monitors screamed. Ethan's small body convulsed. A doctor shouted orders. Detective Chen appeared, her face grave. Mr. Sullivan, I need to tell you something. Not now. It's about Dr. Bates. Chen's voice was tight. He made bail 2 hours ago. James's head snapped up. What? His lawyers argued he's not a flight risk, that he's cooperating. The judge set bail at $5 million. Someone posted it immediately. Chen's jaw clenched. He's out. Rosa's blood went cold, she whispered, in the police car. I heard him tell the officers that I'd regret ruining his life. They wrote it off as anger. It wasn't anger, Chen said. 30 minutes ago, ICE received an anonymous tip about an undocumented immigrant working for the Sullivan family. They're on their way here now to arrest you. The world tilted. He's having me deported, Rosa breathed, while Ethan is dying, while Emma still needs me. We're fighting it, Chen said quickly. The DA is filing for witness protection, special visa status, but the system is slow. How slow? James demanded. Days, maybe weeks. Rosa could be gone by tonight, James said, his voice breaking. From the ICU, a long, terrible sound, the flatline alarm. Emma screamed. Doctors descended on Ethan, starting chest compressions. James ran to the window, pressing his hands against the glass. No, 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 please, God, no. Rosa stood frozen, watching the child she tried to save die in front of her, watching his sister collapse in anguish, watching his father break completely, and knowing that in hours she'd be torn away from them forever. Dr. Bates had won after all. Even from outside prison, he was still destroying this family. The flatline continued for 5 seconds, 10, 15, then a beep, faint, irregular, another beep. The doctor's voice, muffled through glass. We've got a rhythm. He's back. James collapsed against the window, sobbing, but Rosa barely heard it, because 2 ICE agents had just stepped off the elevator, their eyes scanning the waiting area, scanning for her. Detective Chen stepped in front of Rosa. You're not taking her. Ma'am, we have orders. She's a federal witness in an ongoing investigation involving over 200 victims. You deport her. You destroy our case. That's not our problem, the agent said, reaching for Rosa's arm. James appeared, his face transformed from grief to fury. Touch her, and I'll bury you in lawsuits. I have 12 lawyers on retainer and enough money to make your lives hell for the next decade. The agents hesitated. She's family, James said, his voice steel. She saved my children's lives, and you're not taking her anywhere. For a long, terrible moment, no one moved. Then Emma's small voice came from behind them. Please don't take Miss Rosa. My brother just died and came back. I can't lose her, too. The ICE agents looked at the 12-year-old girl's pale, thin hospital gown hanging off her fragile frame, tears streaming down her face. One agent's expression softened. We have orders. And I have a conscience, the other agent said quietly. We'll report that the witness wasn't at this location, but you have 72 hours to get her legal status sorted. After that, we can't help you. They turned and left. Rosa's legs gave out. Detective Chen caught her. 72 hours, Chen said. We make it work. But through the ICU window, Ethan was seizing again. And somewhere in the city, Dr. Victor Bates was free, planning his next move. The darkness had never felt deeper. Ethan died and came back. Rosa's about to be deported. And Dr. Bates is free and hunting them. Comment, can this family survive? What happens next? Subscribe because the turning point and hope returns. Rosa sat in the hospital chapel at 2 a.m. praying for a miracle. The door opened. Detective Chen entered with a woman in a sharp suit. Rosa, this is Assistant U.S. Attorney Patricia Morrison, Chen said. She has news. Morrison sat down. Miss Kensington, I've expedited a U visa for victims of crimes who assist law enforcement. As of 1 hour ago, you have temporary legal status in the United States. Renewable, with a pathway to citizenship. Rosa's hands flew to her mouth. What? Dr. Bates made a mistake when he posted bail, Morrison continued. He contacted 3 other doctors in his network, trying to coordinate their defense. We recorded everything. He also threatened you directly with another felony. She smiled. His bail has been revoked. He's back in custody, and this time he's not getting out. The children in the network? Rosa whispered. All 43 have been removed from their doctors and are receiving real treatment. Because of your testimony, we've dismantled the entire operation. Morrison's voice softened. You saved 200 lives, Rosa. The least we can do is make sure you're protected. Rosa broke down crying. Chen squeezed her shoulder. There's more. James Sullivan has offered you a permanent position not as a nanny, but as family care coordinator. Full benefits. Sponsorship for your family to join you legally. He's setting up a foundation in Catherine's name to help other victims, and he wants you to run it. Why? Rosa sobbed. I'm nobody. You're the woman who saw evil and fought back when everyone else was blind, Chen said. You're a hero. From down the hall, a nurse appeared, smiling. Miss Kensington? Ethan is awake. He's asking for you. Rosa ran. 6 months later, Rosa stood in a federal courthouse as the jury foreman read the verdict. In the case of the United States versus Victor Bates, on the charge of first-degree murder of Catherine Sullivan, we find the defendant guilty. James gripped Rosa's hand. Emma and Ethan are healthier now, color in their cheeks, light in their eyes, sitting beside them. On 43 counts of child endangerment, guilty. On 217 counts of medical fraud, guilty. On conspiracy to commit murder, guilty. Dr. Bates sat motionless as his life ended. No parole, no escape, no mercy. The judge's voice was ice. Dr. Bates, you weaponized the trust between doctor and patient. You murdered a mother and tried to murder her children for profit. You destroyed hundreds of lives. This court sentences you to 8 consecutive life sentences without possibility of parole. As guards led him away, Dr. Bates looked back at Rosa one final time. She met his gaze without flinching. You lose, she said quietly. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed. James gave a statement about the Catherine Sullivan Foundation, which had already helped 60 families affected by medical fraud. But Rosa slipped away to where Emma and Ethan waited. Miss Rosa, Emma said, can we go home now? Yes, Mia, Rosa smiled. Let's go home. 1 year later, Rosa stood in a community center gym watching Emma and Ethan play basketball with other kids, running, laughing, sweating alive. Emma made a basket and pumped her fist. Ethan high-fived his teammate. They looked like normal 13-year-olds because they were normal now. Beautiful, isn't it? James said, appearing beside Rosa with coffee. Miraculous, Rosa said. The foundation helped another 12 families this month, James said. Kids who were being slowly poisoned. We caught it early because of the protocols you developed. Rosa smiled. Dr. Bates's evil created something good. Your courage created something good, James corrected. You could have stayed silent, stayed safe, but you didn't. Miguel appeared with Rosa's mother and siblings, all legal residents now, all together for the first time in 15 years. Her mother embraced her, whispering prayers of gratitude. Detective Chen arrived with Patricia Morrison. Rosa, we need you to testify in another case next month. Different doctor, same pattern. Your testimony has become the gold standard. I'll be there, Rosa said. As the sun set, the families gathered for a barbecue. Emma and Ethan taught Rosa's nieces and nephews how to play soccer. James manned the grill, finally smiling again. Chen and Morrison swapped war stories about bringing down medical fraudsters. Emma ran up to Rosa, breathless and radiant. Miss Rosa, watch this! She did 3 cartwheels in a row, something impossible a year ago. Ethan joined her. And I can do this! He jumped and touched a basketball hoop. Rosa applauded, tears in her eyes. Thank you, Emma whispered, hugging her tight. Thank you for saving us. Thank you for fighting, Rosa said, for being brave, for surviving. James called everyone together for a toast. To Catherine, who will always love. To Emma and Ethan, who never gave up. To the 200 families who are healing. And to Rosa, his voice broke, who taught us that real heroes don't wear capes. They wear aprons and carry courage in their hearts. To Rosa, everyone cheered. Rosa looked at the faces around her family she'd saved and who saved her right back and felt complete. She crossed a border seeking a better life. She found a purpose worth dying for, and she discovered that family isn't always blood. Sometimes it's the people you choose to fight for, the people who choose to fight for you. Emma grabbed her hand. Come play with us, Miss Rosa. Rosa laughed and let herself be pulled into the game. She was home. Finally, truly, home. Oh, my heart. From poisoned children to thriving, from an undocumented nanny to a hero who saved 200+ lives, from a broken family to one filled with love and purpose. If this story moved you, please smash that like button. Subscribe to Unbroken Truths for more stories that prove courage can change everything. Comment below. What was the most powerful moment for you? Have you ever had to choose between safety and doing what's right? Share this story with someone who needs to remember that one person can make a difference, that speaking up matters, that heroes walk among us every day. Thank you for being part of this community. Your story isn't over, not by a long shot. And remember, sometimes the smallest act of courage can save the world. Until next time, keep believing in unbroken truths.